So let's talk about sort of the impact that this has on Notre Dame's class. So what we kind of do is we'll talk the backstory which you just shared. We'll do a class impact next. What does this mean for Notre Dame's class? And then we'll go watch some film. We'll do a film breakdown of Christian Gray, and we'll kind of dive into some of the things that make him such a highly ranked player and are lead to why this is such an important pickup for Notre Dame. And so we'll get into that as well. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about what's next. But honestly, I mean, Notre Dame is done in the 23 class as of right now at cornerback. They are, I think they're ready to go. I think this is their one of focus. There was some talk of taking a third corner, but I think at this point in time, Notre Dame likes the two that they have. Obviously, they got Micah Bell on Friday, but you get Christian Gray to go after that. I think Notre Dame's very comfortable, and I think they'd like to use that extra scholarship at another position is where they are. So let's talk about the impact of this class. And I think Sean brought it up earlier, and we'll get him back in here in a few once he gets some things figured out technically. But the thing that we've been puzzled by as we've discussed things, and this has been a sort of a discussion on our message board, is I've been a little puzzled at some of the criticism that Mike Mickens has taken as a recruiter the last couple of years. When you look at his first class with Ryan Barnes and Philip Riley, Chance Tucker, JoJo Johnson, especially the first three who were there, and then you look at last year, he did that all while not being able to get on the road and recruit. Remember, that was put together during the COVID year. He got hired in, I believe, like February, and a month later, recruiting is over. And they can't travel. They can't go anywhere. They can't bring kids on campus. The whole thing got shut down because of COVID. And he was still able to go out and beat Clemson for a Ryan Barnes, who had offers from Florida, LSU, Clemson, Georgia, I think LSU. Beat him for Philip Riley, who was originally committed to USC or to Notre Dame, flipped to USC, and they were able to flip him back again by staying the course. And so then you go in last year and he beats Alabama and Washington for Benjamin Morrison. He goes out west and it gets Jaden Mickey, who has been one of the most impressive freshmen on campus so far. Just really solidified the cornerback depth chart. So then you go into 2023 and you look at 2023 and you say, okay, well, what's the needs in the 2023 class? Well, the needs in the 2023 class were all about impact. So because you have three corners on the roster and we talked about this when we broke down Micah Bell on Friday, when you look at the needs in the class, it wasn't a numbers thing. You signed three corners in the 2021 class. You signed two last year. All five of those kids enter the 2022 season with 4 seasons of eligibility remaining. So, it wasn't a numbers thing. The need in this class was impact talent. And Notre Dame is getting impact talent. So for those who like to look at recruiting rankings, Christian Gray is ranked as the number 51 overall player in the country, according to Rivals. And Micah Bell is ranked as the number 55 player in the country, according to 247 Sports. The last time that Notre Dame signed two corners in the same class that were ranked in the top 100, you have to go all the way back to 2006 with Darren Walls and Rayshawn McNeil. That's the last time. I thought it was going to be 2012 in the Kavari Russell and T. Shepard class, but nobody had Kavari Russell ranked in the top 100, which they should have. But all the way back to 2006 to the last time that Notre Dame was able to get two corners that were ranked in the top 100. So think about that win for Notre Dame is to get two like that. So when you talk about the need, Sean, mission accomplished. They needed impact players that could be dynamic potential. Micah Bell certainly brings that, and Christian Gray brings that as well. So it makes this a huge, just big-time home run for Notre Dame when it comes to cornerback recruiting.
That is a fantastic – you just took me back. I remember the day we got Darren Walls, and I was like, yes, we finally have that guy. And so let me – look, we go back to Christian Gray. He jumps on the scene when he runs the 4.41 at Ohio State, right? Has the same buzz. The next thing you know, he starts moving up. But like you said, he's really leaning towards Notre Dame. Things happen, change coach. He takes a step back. He's advised by his former high school coach and his mentor, Robert Peoples, not to rush into things. And in doing so, there were other programs that came in and made viable arguments to why they would be the perfect fit for him. That's the way recruiting should go, Brian. That's really what we're seeing is that Notre Dame can actually win these type of battles and still allow kids to go through the process.
Right.
You know, because we've been so used to feeling like, well, Notre Dame really needs to jump on these big time kids and just get them to commit and then hold on. If you're going to become one of the top elite programs, that's not going to be the case for some of these elite guys down the stretch, whether it's going into, you know, the fall season like an Impemba, like Dante Moore, or anybody else that it seems like their recruitment is going to extend a little bit. Which goes back to what you said and why this recruitment is the most impressive. It was honest, it was transparent, and it was collaborative. Mike Mickens put in the work, but you just heard what he said about Marcus Freeman. And Marcus Freeman telling him, you're going to be great.
Right.
Everything that this young man and his family needed to feel and hear, honestly, they got it from the Notre Dame coaching staff and Mike Mickens in particular. So, once again, we talked about this morning. We're realizing and feeling the vibe, and it's nowhere near the peak that we think it could possibly reach in this program. So, it's just a great time to be a part of this fan base. And I think the month of July has even more to give to Notre Dame football.